up, world? Welcome to NBA Rap. This video is a compilation of everything that happened in the 80s. Get your popcorn, get your snacks, get your drinks, hit that like button, hit that sub button, and let's get to it. The 1979 to 1980 NBA season was the 34th season of the National Basketball Association. The season began on October 12, 1979 and ended on March 30th, 1980. The NBA officially adopts the three-point field goal. Boston Celtics guard Chris Ford made the first three-pointer on October 12, 1979 against the Houston Rockets. The Jazz relocate from New Orleans, Louisiana to Salt Lake City, Utah. This was the first season the NBA had a cable television partner. The USA Network signed a 3-year, $1.5 million deal. This was both Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's rookie season, and is considered to be the birth of the modern game. Magic Johnson was the first overall pick selected by the Los Angeles Lakers, and Larry Bird was selected 6th overall by the Boston Celtics. Leading the league in the East were the Boston Celtics, 61 wins, 21 losses, followed by the Atlanta Hawks, 50-32, Philadelphia 76ers, 59-23, Houston Rockets, 41-41, San Antonio Spurs, 41-41, and Washington Bullets, 39-43. Missing the playoffs were the New York Knicks, 39-43, Cleveland Cavaliers, 37-45, Indiana Pacers, 37-45, New Jersey Nets, 34-48, and Detroit Pistons, 16-66. Leading the West were the Los Angeles Lakers with 60 wins and 22 losses, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks, 49-33, Seattle Supersonics, 56-26, Phoenix Suns, 55-27, Kansas City Kings, 47-35, and Portland Trailblazers, 38-44. Missing the playoffs were the San Diego Clippers, 35-47, Chicago Bulls, 30-52, Denver Nuggets, 30-52, Utah Jazz, 24-58, and Golden State Warriors, 24 wins, 58 losses. If you can let me know what your favorite team logo of this season was in the comments. Let's move on to the season leaders and All-Star game. Leading the league in scoring was George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 33.1 points per game. The rebounds leader was Swen Nader of the San Diego Clippers, averaging 15 rebounds per game. The assist leader was Michael Ray Richardson of the New York Knicks, averaging 10.1 assists per game. Leading in steals, Michael Ray Richardson of the New York Knicks, averaging 3.2 steals per game. And leading in blocks, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 3.4 blocks per game. The 1980 NBA All-Star Game was the 30th edition of the game, played at Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland on February 3rd, 1980. The East was able to win over the West 144-136 in overtime. George Gervin took home the game's MVP honors, scoring 34 points and grabbing 10 rebounds. The Eastern Conference All-Stars were George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, Eddie Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks, Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, John Drew and Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks, Larry Bird and Nate Archibald of the Boston Celtics, Elvin Hayes of the Washington Bullets, and Bill Cartwright and Michael Ray Richardson of the New York Knicks. They were coached by Billy Cunningham of the Philadelphia 76ers. Making the West All-Star team was Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, World B. Free of the San Diego Clippers, Marquise Johnson of the Milwaukee Bucks, Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, Jack Sikma and Dennis Johnson of the Seattle Supersonics, Paul Westphal and Walter Davis of the Phoenix Suns, Kermit Washington of the Portland Trailblazers, Otis Birdsong of the Kansas City Kings, and Scott Wedman of the Kansas City Kings, who missed the game due to injury. They were coached by Lenny Wilkins of the Seattle Supersonics. How many names did I mess up this time? Well, hello there. I hope you've been enjoying this episode of NBA Wrapped. You know we need that Rookie of the Year award, so hit that like button, hit that sub button if you're new. Come on, type in the comments. You know what's going on. Let's move on to our award winners. The MVP of the season went to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 24.8 points per game, 4.5 assists per game, and 10.8 rebounds per game. The Rookie of the Year, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 21.3 points per game, 4.5 assists per game, and 10.4 rebounds per game. And the Coach of the Year went to Bill Fitch of the Boston Celtics. Making the All-NBA First Team, Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 26.9 points per game, 4.6 assists per game, and 7.4 rebounds per game. Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 21.3 points per game, 4.5 assists per game, and 10.4 rebounds per game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 24.8 points per game, 4.5 assists per game, and 10.8 rebounds per game. Paul Westphal of the Phoenix Suns, averaging 21.9 points per game, 5.1 assists per game, and 2.3 rebounds per game. And George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 33.1 points per game, 2.6 assists per game, and 5.2 rebounds per game. Making the All-NBA Second Team, Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks, averaging 16.5 points per game, 2.3 assists per game, and 10.3 rebounds per game. Marquise Johnson of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 21.7 points per game, 3.5 assists per game, and 7.4 rebounds per game. Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, averaging 25.8 points per game, 1.8 assists per game, and 14.5 rebounds per game. Dennis Johnson of the Seattle Supersonics, averaging 19 points per game, 4.1 assists per game, and 5.1 rebounds per game. And Gus Williams of the Seattle Supersonics, averaging 22.1 points per game, 4.8 assists per game, and 3.4 rebounds per game. On the All-NBA rookie team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, Bill Cartwright of the New York Knicks, David Greenwood of the Chicago Bulls, and Calvin Nat of the Portland Trail Blazers. Making the NBA All-Defensive First Team, Bobby Jones of the Philadelphia 76ers, Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, Dennis Johnson of the Seattle Supersonics, Don Buse of the Phoenix Suns, and Michael Ray Richardson of the New York Knicks. Making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Scott Wedman of the Kansas City Kings, Kermit Washington of the Portland Trail Blazers, Dave Cowens of the Boston Celtics, Quinn Buckner of the Milwaukee Bucks, and Eddie Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks. And here we are entering the most important part of the season, the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference first round, Philadelphia defeated Washington 2-0, and Houston defeated San Antonio 2-1. In the Western Conference first round, Phoenix defeated Kansas City 2-1, and Seattle defeated Portland 2-1. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Boston won over Houston 4-0, and Philadelphia advanced past Atlanta 4-1. The Western Conference semifinals saw Los Angeles defeating Phoenix 4-1, and Seattle winning over Milwaukee in the 7-game series. Philadelphia defeated Boston 4-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals to advance to the NBA Finals. And in the West, Los Angeles defeated Seattle 4-1 to advance. The 1980 NBA Finals began on May 4th and ended on May 16th, featuring the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Philadelphia 76ers. This was the first NBA Finals to make use of the three-point line. Game 1, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar proved why he earned MVP with a 33-point, 14-rebound performance, alongside rookie Magic Johnson's first ever Finals game performance of 16 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds. The Lakers won 109-102. Despite having another monster game from Kareem with a 38-point, 14-rebound double-double, Julius Erving had a double-double of his own with 23 and 10, as well as Darryl Dawkins leading the 76ers in scoring with 25 points, powering the team to 107-104 win. Now in Philadelphia, the Lakers came out strong with a 15-point lead in the first quarter. The Lakers cruised to a 111-101 victory behind a 33-point, 14-rebound, 4-block, 3-assist game. Julius Erving scored the only three-pointer of the series and the first in NBA Finals history in this game. Game 4 was kept close all game. Darryl Dawkins led Philly with 26 points, and with the additional 23 from Dr. J, highlighted by his signature baseline move in the fourth quarter, the 76ers won 105-102 and tied the series up 2-2. Back at the Forum in California, the Lakers held a 2-point lead late in the third quarter when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar stepped on Lionel Hollins' foot as he was running up court after a Lakers basket and twisted his ankle. Kareem was able to come back in the game, finishing with 40 points and 15 rebounds en route to a 108-103 win. The Lakers team doctors declared Kareem and his bad ankle unfit for Game 6. Pre-Game 6, Lakers coach Paul Westhead made a bold move by asking Magic Johnson to jump center, to which he agreed. While the Lakers took advantage going up 11-4 early, the Sixers used the size advantage to take a 52-44 lead in the second. The Lakers rallied to tie it up 60-60 by the half. Los Angeles opened up the third with a 14-0 run, keyed by Jamal Wilkes, who finished with a career-high 37 points and also grabbing 10 rebounds. And Magic Johnson scored 9 down the stretch, finishing with a 42-point, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steal, 1 block performance to wrap up the Lakers season with a 123-107 win and the NBA Finals championship. Magic Johnson took the Finals MVP award home in his rookie season, averaging 21.5 points per game, 11.2 rebounds per game, and 8.7 assists per game in 6 games. The 1980 to 1981 NBA season was the 35th season of the National Basketball Association. The season began on October 10th, 1980 and ended on March 29th, 1981. As of today, this was the last time an NBA season, including the postseason, had ended before Memorial Day. The Dallas Mavericks become the league's 23rd franchise. As a result, the NBA realigns 4 of its teams to better reflect their geographical locations. The Milwaukee Bucks and Chicago Bulls moved to the Eastern Conference, and the San Antonio Spurs and Houston Rockets to the West. The number 1 pick was Joe Barry Carroll, selected by the Golden State Warriors. Leading the league in the East were the Boston Celtics with the 62-win, 20-loss season, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks, 60-22, Philadelphia 76ers, 62-20, New York Knicks, 50-32, Chicago Bulls, 45-37, and Indiana Pacers, 44-38. Missing the playoffs were the Washington Bullets, 39-43, Atlanta Hawks, 31-51, Cleveland Cavaliers, 28-54, New Jersey Nets, 24-58, and Detroit Pistons, 21-61. The West was led by the Phoenix Suns, 57 wins, 25 losses, followed by the San Antonio Spurs, 52-30, Los Angeles Lakers, 54-28, Portland Trail Blazers, 45-37, Kansas City Kings, 40-42, and Houston Rockets, 40-42. Missing the playoffs were the Golden State Warriors, 39-43, Denver Nuggets, 37-45, San Diego Clippers, 36-46, Seattle Supersonics, 34-48, Utah Jazz, 28-54, and Dallas Mavericks, 15-67. Let's take it to the season leaders and all-star game. Leading the league in scoring was Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, averaging 30.7 points per game. The assist leader was Kevin Porter of the Washington Bullets, averaging 9.1 assists per game. The rebounds leader, Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, averaging 14.8 rebounds per game. The steals leader went to Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 3.4 steals per game. Leading the league in blocks was George Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 3.4 blocks per game. The 1981 NBA All-Star Game was the 31st edition of the game and was played on February 1st, 1981 at the Richfield Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio. The East was able to win over the West 123-120. Nate Archibald finished with just 9 points and 9 assists, but it was his mastery of the game's tempo that kept the West at bay and earned him MVP honors. The Eastern Conference All-Stars were Reggie Theus and Artis Gilmore of the Chicago Bulls, Julius Erving and Bobby Jones of the Philadelphia 76ers, Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and Nate Archibald of the Boston Celtics, Michael Ray Richardson of the New York Knicks, Marquise Johnson of the Milwaukee Bucks, Mike Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Eddie Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks, and Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks, who missed the game due to injury. They were coached by Billy Cunningham of the Philadelphia 76ers. The Western Conference All-Stars were Paul Westphal and Jack Sikma of the Seattle Supersonics, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Jamal Wilkes of the Los Angeles Lakers, George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, Walter Davis, Dennis Johnson, and Truck Robinson of the Phoenix Suns, Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, and Otis Birdsong of the Kansas City Kings. They were coached by John McLeod of the Phoenix Suns. Let me know if I said any names wrong. I think I'm good. Hey, if you're new, let me tell you, we need that Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World, so please hit that sub button. If you already been here before, you know the drill. Please hit that like button and drop a comment. It really helps the video. Let's get into our award winners. Winning the MVP of the season was Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 24.6 points per game, 4.4 assists per game, and 8 rebounds per game. The Rookie of the Year went to Darrell Griffith of the Utah Jazz, averaging 20.6 points per game, 2.4 assists per game, and 3.6 rebounds per game. The Coach of the Year, Jack McKinney of the Indiana Pacers. Making the All-NBA First Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 21.2 points per game, 5.5 assists per game, and 10.9 rebounds per game. Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 24.6 points per game, 4.4 assists per game, and 8 rebounds per game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 26.2 points per game, 3.4 assists per game, and 10.3 rebounds per game. Dennis Johnson of the Phoenix Suns, averaging 18.8 points per game, 3.7 assists per game, and 4.6 rebounds per game. And George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 27.1 points per game, 3.2 assists per game, and 5.1 rebounds per game. Making the All-NBA Second Team, Marquise Johnson of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 20.3 points per game, 4.6 assists per game, and 6.8 rebounds per game. Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, averaging 30.7 points per game, 4 assists per game, and 6.4 rebounds per game. Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, averaging 27.8 points per game, 1.8 assists per game, and 14.8 rebounds per game. Otis Birdsong of the Kansas City Kings, averaging 24.6 points per game, 3.3 assists per game, and 3.6 rebounds per game. And Nate Archibald of the Boston Celtics, averaging 13.8 points per game, 7.7 assists per game, and 2.2 rebounds per game. Making the All-NBA Rookie Team, Kelvin Ramsey of the Portland Trail Blazers, Darrell Griffith of the Utah Jazz, Larry Smith and Joe Barry Carroll of the Golden State Warriors, and Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics. On the NBA All-Defensive First Team, Bobby Jones and Caldwell Jones of the Philadelphia 76ers, don't know if they're brothers, let me know. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, Dennis Johnson of the Phoenix Suns, and Michael Ray Richardson of the New York Knicks. On the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks, Kermit Washington of the Portland Trailblazers, George Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs, Quinn Buckner of the Milwaukee Bucks, and Dudley Bradley of the Indiana Pacers, and Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers. Time for the last spot. Let's get into the most important part of the season, the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference first round, Chicago defeated New York 2-0, and Philadelphia defeated Indiana 2-0. In the Western Conference first round, Houston defeated the Los Angeles Lakers 2-1, and Kansas City defeated Portland 2-1. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Philadelphia won over Milwaukee in a 7-game series, and Boston swept Chicago. In the Western Conference semifinals, Kansas City defeated Phoenix in a 7-game series, and Houston advanced over San Antonio in a 7-game series. In the Eastern Conference finals, Boston defeated Philadelphia in 7 to advance to the NBA Finals, and in the Western Conference finals, Houston defeated Kansas City 4-1 to advance to the NBA Finals. The 1981 NBA Finals began on May 5th and ended on May 14th, featuring the Boston Celtics versus the Houston Rockets. This series has the distinction of featuring for the third time in NBA history and last to date a team with a losing record in the finals. No one figured this series to be much of a finals. Houston had lost its previous dozen games to the Celtics, including a 4-0 series sweep in the previous year's playoffs. Game 1 saw Houston come out with energy, leading 57-51. By the end of the first half, late in the fourth period, with the Celtics trailing 84-87, Larry Bird put up an 18-footer from the right side. As soon as he turned it loose, he immediately rushed in for the rebound. He caught the ball in midair, and in an instant, he switched the ball to his left hand and flipped it in the basket. Bird would finish with 18 points, 21 rebounds, and 9 assists, leading Boston to a 98-95 win. Despite another big double-double from Bird, 19 points and 21 rebounds, Moses Malone had an even bigger double-double with 31 points and 15 rebounds to power his team to a 92-90 Game 2 win. Now in Houston, Robert Reed was able to hold Larry Bird to just 8 points. However, the Rockets shot just 3 for 17 in the second quarter, fell behind by 17, and never came back, losing the game 71-94. Mike Dunleavy Sr. powered the Rockets in Game 4 with a 28-point performance. Moses Malone added 24 points and 22 rebounds, and with Bird limited to only 8 points once again, Houston tied up the series 2-2, winning 91-86. Moses Malone had been trash talking the Celtics, declaring, "Boston ain't that good." Before Game 5, he said, "I can get 4 guys off the street in Petersburg, his hometown, and beat them." Cedric Maxwell of the Boston Celtics didn't take those comments lightly, dropping a 28-point, 15-rebound on the Rockets and leading his team to a 109-80 win. The infamous on-air incident between Rick Barry and Bill Russell occurred early in the third quarter of this game. Y'all let me know if y'all want me to do a video on the details of that. By the fourth quarter of Game 6, the Celtics were up 84-67. While the championship looked secured, they went 5 minutes without a basket, and the Rockets scored 13 unanswered points. Larry Bird then hit a clutch shot, dished out an assist to Maxwell, and wrapped it up with a big 3 to put the Rockets away and win the game 102-91, getting Boston its 14th NBA championship ring. Cedric Maxwell was named the Finals MVP with 17.7 points per game, 2.8 assists per game, and 9.5 rebounds per game in 6 games. The 1981-1982 NBA season was the 36th season of the National Basketball Association. The season began on October 30th, 1981 and ended on April 18th, 1982. This was the first time the regular season ran until mid to late April. The Denver Nuggets scored at least 100 points in every single game of the season, while also allowing 100 points in every game. To date, this is the only time this has occurred in NBA history. The number 1 draft pick was Mark Aguirre, selected by the Dallas Mavericks. Leading the league in the East were the Boston Celtics with a 63-win, 19-loss record, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks, 55-27, Philadelphia 76ers, 58-24, New Jersey Nets, 44-38, Washington Bullets, 43-39, and Atlanta Hawks, 42-40. Missing the playoffs were the Detroit Pistons, 39-43, Indiana Pacers, 35-47, Chicago Bulls, 34-48, New York Knicks, 33-49, and Cleveland Cavaliers, 15-67. The West was led by the Los Angeles Angeles Lakers with a 57-win, 25-loss record, followed by the San Antonio Spurs, 48-34, Seattle Supersonics, 52-30, Denver Nuggets, 46-36, Phoenix Suns, 46-36, and the Houston Rockets, 46-36. Missing the playoffs were the Golden State Warriors, 45-37, Portland Trailblazers, 42-40, Kansas City Kings, 30-52, Dallas Mavericks, 28-54, Utah Jazz, 25-57, and San Diego Clippers, 17 wins, 65 losses. Let's jump right into the season leaders and All-Star game. The scoring leader of the season was George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 32.3 points per game. The assist leader, Johnny Moore of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 9.1 assists per game. The rebounds leader went to Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, averaging 14.7 rebounds per game. The steals leader, Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 2.7 per game. Leading the league in blocks, George Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 3.1 per game. The 1982 NBA All-Star Game was the 32nd edition of the game and was played on January 31st, 1982 at Brendan Byrne Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Larry Bird put on one of his clutch performances, scoring 12 of the East's final 15 points down the stretch and leading them to a 120-118 win over the West and netting MVP honors. Bird shot 7 for 12, scoring 19 points as well as grabbing 12 rebounds and 5 assists. The Eastern Conference stars were Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, Nate Archibald, Larry Bird, and Robert Parrish of the Boston Celtics, Artis Gilmore of the Chicago Bulls, Julius Erving and Bobby Jones of the Philadelphia 76ers, Sidney Moncrief and Bob Lanier of the Milwaukee Bucks, Buck Williams of the New Jersey Nets, Michael Ray Richardson of the New York Knicks, Kelly Tripucka of the Detroit Pistons, and Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks, who missed the game due to injury. They were coached by Bill Fitch of the Boston Celtics. The Western Conference stars were George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, Magic Johnson, Norm Nixon, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, Lonnie Shelton, Jack Sikma, and Gus Williams of the Seattle Supersonics, Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, Dennis Johnson of the Phoenix Suns, Bernard King of the Golden State Warriors, and Alex English of the Denver Nuggets. They were coached by Pat Riley of the Los Angeles Lakers. If this is your first episode of NBA Rap, let me just tell you, we need that Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World. Please hit that like button. Please hit that sub button. Drop a comment. Let's move on to the award winners. The MVP of the season went to Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, averaging 31.1 points, 1.8 assists, and 14.7 rebounds per game. The Rookie of the Year went to Buck Williams of the New Jersey Nets, averaging 15.5 points, 1.3 assists, and 12.3 rebounds per game. The Coach of the Year, Gene Shue of the Washington Bullets. Making the All-NBA First Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 22.9 points, 5.8 assists, and 10.9 rebounds per game. Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 24.4 points, 3.9 assists, and 6.9 rebounds per game. Moses Malone of the Houston Rockets, averaging 31.1 points, 1.8 assists, and 14.7 rebounds per game. George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 32.3 points, 2.4 assists, and 5 rebounds per game. Gus Williams of the Seattle Supersonics, averaging 23.4 points, 6.9 assists, and 3.1 rebounds per game. Making the All-NBA Second Team, Alex English of the Denver Nuggets, averaging 25.4 points, 5.3 assists, and 6.8 rebounds per game. Bernard King of the Golden State Warriors, averaging 23.2 points, 3.6 assists, and 5.9 rebounds per game. Robert Parrish of the Boston Celtics, averaging 19.9 points, 1.8 assists, and 10.8 rebounds per game. Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 18.6 points, 9.5 assists, and 9.6 rebounds per game. And Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 19.8 points, 4.8 assists, and 6.7 rebounds per game. Making the All-NBA Rookie Team, Buck Williams of the New Jersey Nets, Jay Vincent of the Dallas Mavericks, Kelly Tripucka and Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, and Jeff Ruland of the Washington Bullets. Making the NBA All-Defensive First Team, Bobby Jones and Caldwell Jones of the Philadelphia 76ers, Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers, Dennis Johnson of the Phoenix Suns, and Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks. Making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, Quinn Buckner and Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, and Jack Sikma and Lonnie Shelton of the Seattle Supersonics. Here we are at the most important part of the season, the playoffs. And I have one important thing to ask you. just leave a comment on the video. It helps it so much. Let's do it. In the Eastern Conference first round, Washington defeated New Jersey 2-0, and Philadelphia defeated Atlanta 2-0. In the Western Conference first round, Seattle won over Houston 2-1, and Phoenix won over Denver 2-1. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Philadelphia defeated Milwaukee 4-2, and Boston defeated Washington 4-1. In the Western Conference semifinals, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated Phoenix in a sweep, and San Antonio defeated Seattle 4-1. In the Eastern Conference finals, Philadelphia defeated rival Boston in a 7-game series. And in the Western Conference finals, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated San Antonio in a sweep. The 1982 NBA Finals began on May 27th and ended on June 8th, featuring the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Philadelphia 76ers. The previous season saw the Lakers in a state of uncertainty after Magic Johnson missed 45 games due to a knee injury. The Lakers were stunned in the 1981 NBA playoffs by the Houston Rockets in a 3-game miniseries. Their problems continued early in the new season, and with the team at a 7-4 record, the Lakers decided to fire head coach Paul Westhead. Taking over as head coach was Pat Riley. His promotion to the job led to be the birth of the Showtime offense. With the healthy Magic Johnson and the additions of Kurt Rambis and Bob McAdoo, the Lakers rallied to finish with the best record in the Western Conference. Due to a then existing rule where division winners would earn a first-round bye, the 76ers were forced to play a best-of-3 miniseries, even though their 58-24 record was 3 games better than the Central Division champion Milwaukee Bucks. Led by Andrew Toney's 34 points, the 76ers exercised the demons of 1981 by blowing out the Celtics 120-106 in Game 7. As the game ended, the Boston Garden crowd began to chant, "Beat LA," encouraging the 76ers to defeat the hated Lakers in the championship round. Game 1 of the finals, the Sixers worked their offense to precision and held a 15-point lead midway through the third quarter, 83-68. Over the next 11 minutes, the Lakers won on a 40-9 run, on the way to a 124-117 win. Despite Pat Riley assigning Magic Johnson to cover Julius Erving, Dr. J was able to lead his team with a 24-point, 14-rebound performance. The Sixers combined for 38 offensive rebounds for 50 second-chance points to win the game 110-94. The Lakers, now at home, dominated Philly. Norm Nixon led the way with 29 points en route to a 129-108 win. Another team effort from LA featuring 24 points from Jamal Wilkes and Magic Johnson, 22 from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Bob McAdoo with 19 off the bench, led to a 111-101 win and 3-1 lead for the Lakers. Philly came to Game 5 at home on a mission. Darryl Dawkins dropped 20 points, grabbed 9 rebounds, and held Kareem to just 6 points, a career playoff low for him. Andrew Toney led in scoring with 31, and the 135-102 76ers win. Game 6 back at the Forum, the Lakers found themselves up 66-57 at the half. In the third, the Sixers turned it up on the defensive end. They held Los Angeles to 20 points for the quarter and cut the lead to 1 point multiple times. However, with Jamal Wilkes' 27 points and Magic Johnson's 13 point, 13 rebound, 13 assist triple-double, the Lakers were able to pull out a 114-104 win and wrap up their series with the championship. Magic Johnson was named the Finals MVP, averaging 16.2 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 8 assists per game in 6 games. The 1982-1983 NBA season was the 37th season of the National Basketball Association. The season began on October 29, 1982 and ended on April 17, 1983. This season marked the final season for Larry O'Brien as commissioner of the NBA. The NBA would rename its championship trophy after him. The USA Network extended their cable deal with the NBA for another 2 years, and ESPN shared broadcast rights with them. This was the final season for Wilson, serving as the suppliers of the official NBA game ball, a partnership that dated back to 1946. They were replaced by Spalding. The NBA adds the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award and the NBA Sixth Man of the Year award. Leading the league in the East were the Philadelphia 76ers with the 65-win, 17-loss season, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks, 51-31, Boston Celtics, 56-26, New Jersey Nets, 49-33, New York Knicks, 44-38, and Atlanta Hawks, 43-39. Missing the playoffs were the Washington Bullets, 42-40, Detroit Pistons, 37-45, Chicago Bulls, 28-54, Cleveland Cavaliers, 23-59, and Indiana Pacers, 20-62. In the West, the Los Angeles Lakers led with a 58-win, 24-loss record, followed by the San Antonio Spurs, 53-29, Phoenix Suns, 53-29, Seattle Supersonics, 48-34, Portland Trailblazers, 46-36, and Denver Nuggets, 45-37. Missing the playoffs were the Kansas City Kings, 45-37, Dallas Mavericks, 38-44, Utah Jazz, 30-52, Golden State Warriors, 30-52, San Diego Clippers 25-57, and the Houston Rockets 14 wins, 68 losses. Let's get into our season leaders and all-star game. Leading the league in scoring was Alex English of the Denver Nuggets, averaging 28.4 points per game. Leading in assists, Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 9.1 assists per game. The rebounds leader was Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 15.3 rebounds per game. The steals leader, Michael Ray Richardson, playing for the Golden State Warriors and New Jersey Nets, averaging 2.8 steals per game. Leading the league in blocks, Tree Rollins of the Atlanta Hawks, averaging 4.3 per game. The 33rd National Basketball Association All-Star Game was played on February 13th, 1983 at the Forum in Inglewood, California. Julius Erving powered the East to a 132-123 win over the West with a 25.6 rebound, 3 assist game, and wrapped up the night with the MVP award. The Eastern Conference stars were Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer of the Detroit Pistons, Maurice Cheeks, Moses Malone, Julius Erving, and Andrew Toney of the Philadelphia 76ers, Larry Bird and Robert Parrish of the Boston Celtics, Sidney Moncrief and Marquise Johnson of the Milwaukee Bucks, Buck Williams of the New Jersey Nets, and Reggie Theus of the Chicago Bulls. They were coached by Billy Cunningham of the Philadelphia 76ers. The Western Conference All-Stars were Magic Johnson, Jamal Wilkes, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, Alex English of the Denver Nuggets, Maurice Lucas of the Phoenix Suns, David Thompson, Jack Sikma, and Gus Williams of the Seattle Supersonics, Artis Gilmore and George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, Jim Paxson of the Portland Trailblazer, and Kiki Van Dwegge of the Denver Nuggets. I know I said his name wrong. Someone please in the comments let me know. It's bad. They were coached by Pat Riley of the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's get into our award winners, and you know we need that Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World, so just please hit that like button if you're here and hit that sub button if you're new. It means a lot. The MVP of the season went to Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 24.5 points, 1.3 assists, and 15.3 rebounds per game. The Rookie of the Year was Terry Cummings of the San Diego Clippers, averaging 23.7 points, 2.5 assists, and 10.6 rebounds per game. The first ever Defensive Player of the Year was Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks. Let me know if you guys want defensive stats when I say this award. The first ever Sixth Man of the Year went to Bobby Jones of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 9 points, 1.9 assists, and 4.6 rebounds per game in 24 minutes played per game. The Coach of the Year went to Don Nelson of the Milwaukee Bucks, making the All-NBA First Team Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 23.6 points, 5.8 assists, and 11 rebounds per game. Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 21.4 points, 3.7 assists, and 6.8 rebounds per game. Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 24.5 points, 1.3 assists, and 15.3 rebounds per game. Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 22.5 points, 3.9 assists, and 5.8 rebounds per game. And Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 16.8 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 10.5 assists per game. Making the All-NBA Second Team, Alex English of the Denver Nuggets, averaging 28.4 points, 4.8 assists, and 7.3 rebounds per game. Buck Williams of the New Jersey Nets, averaging 17 points, 1.5 assists, and 12.5 rebounds per game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 21.8 points, 2.5 assists, and 7.5 rebounds per game. George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 26.2 points, 3.4 assists, and 4.6 rebounds per game. And Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, averaging 22.9 points, 7.8 assists, and 4 rebounds per game. Making the All-NBA Rookie Team, James Worthy of the Los Angeles Lakers, Quentin Daly of the Chicago Bulls, Terry Cummings of the San Diego Clippers, Clark Kellogg of the Indiana Pacers, and Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks. Making the NBA All-Defensive Team, Bobby Jones of the Philadelphia 76ers, Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks, Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, and Todd Dennis Johnson of the Phoenix Suns, and Maurice Cheeks of the Philadelphia 76ers. Making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, Wayne Rollins of the Atlanta Hawks, Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers, and T.R. Dunn of the Denver Nuggets. Let's jump into the most important part of the season, the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference first round, New York won over New Jersey 2-0, and Boston defeated Atlanta 2-1. In the Western Conference first round, Portland defeated Seattle 2-0, and Denver beat Phoenix 2-1. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Philadelphia swept New York 4-0, and Milwaukee beat Boston in a 4-0 sweep. In the Western Conference semifinals, Los Angeles Lakers eliminated Portland 4-1, and the San Antonio Spurs defeated Denver 4-1. In the Eastern Conference finals, Philadelphia won over Milwaukee 4-1 to advance to the finals. And in the Western Conference Conference Finals, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated San Antonio 4-2 to advance to the finals. The 1983 NBA Finals was played through May 22nd to May 31st, featuring the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Philadelphia 76ers. This was the last NBA championship series completed before June 1st. The 76ers lost their first two finals meetings with the Lakers in 1980 and 1982. In the offseason, the 76ers acquired Moses Malone from the Houston Rockets in an effort to counter Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, in addition to providing some offense and rebounding to the team. Prior to the playoffs, Malone predicted the team would win in 4 games in each of the 3 rounds, ending it with the statement, "Fo, fo, fo." The Lakers earned the top pick of the 1982 NBA draft, becoming the only defending champion to earn the top overall pick in the same season. This was because Cleveland Cavaliers owner Ted Steppen traded their first-round pick and Butch Lee to the Lakers for Don Ford and draft pick Chad Kinch 3 years earlier. Because the Cavaliers earned the worst record at 15-67, they would have earned the top overall pick via a coin toss with the 17-65 San Diego Clippers. Instead, the Lakers would earn the top pick and ultimately selected future Hall of Famer James Worthy first overall. Game 1, Moses Malone proved he was the one that would lead Philly to the promised land, dropping a huge 27-point, 18-rebound double-double en route to 113-107 win. Philly held down home court with another Moses Malone double-double, this time with 24 points and 12 rebounds, and Maurice Cheeks dished out 8 assists. Mo dimes, Mo Cheeks. The 76ers won Game 2, 103-93. Now back at the Forum in California, the Lakers came out strong, up 32-21 by the end of the first. However, despite strong double-double performances from Kareem and Magic, the 76ers rallied in the fourth, winning that quarter 39-22 and the game 111-94, behind another beast performance by Moses Malone, this time dropping 28 points, 19 rebounds, and 6 assists. LA had another strong first half performance, leading 65-51 by the end of the second quarter. The Lakers could not contain Philly at all. The 76ers had Moses Malone, Andrew Toney, Maurice Cheeks, and Julius Erving all dropped 20 points or more. The Philadelphia 76ers were finally able to conquer the Lakers, winning 115-108 and wrapping up their season with the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Moses Malone was named the Finals MVP, averaging 25.8 points, 18 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks per game in 4 games. The 1983-1984 NBA season was the 38th season of the National Basketball Association. The season began on October 28, 1983 and ended on April 15, 1984. David Stern begins his tenure as the league's 4th commissioner, effective April 1st. The NBA playoffs were expanded from 6 teams per conference to 8, where it stands to this day. This was the first year the first round of the NBA playoffs went from best of 3 series to a best of 5 series. The first round remained best of 5 until hit that sub button right now if you find out. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar surpassed Wilt Chamberlain to become the all-time NBA career leader in points. The Denver Nuggets and Detroit Pistons play in the highest scoring game in NBA history, with the Pistons winning 186-184 in 3 overtimes. The number 1 pick was Ralph Sampson, selected by the Houston Rockets, who would become the first rookie to win the Rookie of the Month award in every month of the season. Leading the league in the East were the Boston Celtics, 62 wins, 20 losses, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks, 50-32, Philadelphia 76ers, 52-30, Detroit Pistons, 49-33, New York Knicks, 47-35, New Jersey Nets, 45-37, Atlanta Hawks, 40-42, and Washington Bullets, 35-47. Missing the playoffs were the Cleveland Cavaliers, 28-54, Chicago Bulls, 27-55, and the Indiana Pacers, 26-56. The West was led by the Los Angeles Lakers with a 54-win, 28-loss record, followed by the Utah Jazz, 45-37, Portland Trailblazers, 48-34, Dallas Mavericks, 43-39, Seattle Supersonics, 42-40, Phoenix Suns, 41-41, Denver Nuggets, 38-44, and Kansas City Kings, 38-44. Missing the playoffs were the San Antonio Spurs, 37-45, Golden State Warriors, 37-48, San Diego Clippers, 30-52, and the Houston Rockets, 29 wins, 53 losses. Let's make our way to the season leaders and All-Star game. Leading the league in points, Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, averaging 30.6 points per game. Leading the league in assists, Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 13.1 assists per game. Leading in rebounds, Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 13.4 rebounds per game. The steals leader, Ricky Green of the Utah Jazz, averaging 2.7 steals per game. Leading the league in blocks, Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, averaging 4.3 blocks per game. The 34th National Basketball Association All-Star Game was played on January 29, 1984 at McNichols Sports Arena in Denver. There were quite a few great performances on the night, including Magic Johnson finishing with 15 points and 22 assists, including an All-Star Game record 13 assists and a half. His 22 assists set an all-time single-game record for All-Star dimes. Julius Erving, the reigning All-Star Game MVP, who scored 34 points to go along with his 8 rebounds and 5 assists, and Isaiah Thomas, finishing with 21 points and 15 assists, and wrapping up the night with the MVP award in the East 154-145 overtime win over the West. The Eastern Conference All-Stars were Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, Julius Erving, Andrew Toney, and Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish of the Boston Celtics, Bill Laimbeer and Kelly Tripucka of the Detroit Pistons, Bernard King of the New York Knicks, Jeff Ruland of the Washington Bullets, and Otis Birdsong of the New Jersey Nets. They were coached by K.C. Jones of the Boston Celtics. The Western Conference All-Stars, Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, Adrian Dantley and Ricky Green of the Utah Jazz, Alex English and Kiki Vandeweghe of the Denver Nuggets. Shout out to my boy Jack Walsh for the pronunciation of Kiki's name. Thank you, bro. Jim Paxson of the Portland Trail Blazers, Jack Sikma of the Seattle Supersonics, Ralph Sampson of the Houston Rockets, Mark Aguirre of the Dallas Mavericks, and Walter Davis of the Phoenix Suns. They were coached by Frank Layden of the Utah Jazz. Larry Nance of the Phoenix Suns won the first NBA Slam Dunk Championship. Hey you, are you learning the ball right now? We need the Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World. If you're new, hit that sub button. If you're not new, come on, hit that like button. And if you're anybody, just comment. It could be anything, realistically. Let's take it to the award winners. The MVP of the season went to Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 24.2 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 6.6 assists per game. The Rookie of the Year, Ralph Sampson of the Houston Rockets, averaging 21 points, 11.1 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. The Defensive Player of the Year went to Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks. The Sixth Man of the Year went to Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, averaging 18.4 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 1.3 assists per game in 31.4 minutes per game. The Coach of the Year went to Frank Layden of the Utah Jazz. Making the All-NBA First Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 24.2 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 6.6 assists per game. Bernard King of the New York Knicks, averaging 26.3 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 21.5 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 2.6 assists per game. Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, averaging 21.3 points, 4 rebounds, and 11.1 assists per game. And Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 17.6 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 13.1 assists per game. Making the All-NBA Second Team, Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, averaging 30.6 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 3.9 assists per game. Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 22.4 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 22.7 points, 13.4 rebounds, and 1.4 assists per game. Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 20.9 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game. And Jim Paxson of the Portland Trail Blazers, averaging 21.3 points, 2.1 rebounds, and 3.1 assists per game. Making the All-NBA Rookie Team, Steve Stepanovich of the Indiana Pacers, Ralph Sampson of the Houston Rockets, Darrell Walker of the New York Knicks, Jeff Malone of the Washington Bullets, Thurl Bailey of the Utah Jazz, and Byron Scott of the Los Angeles Lakers. Making the All-NBA Defensive First Team, Bobby Jones and Maurice Cheeks of the Philadelphia 76ers, Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers, Tree Rollins of the Atlanta Hawks, and Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks. Making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Larry Bird and Dennis Johnson of the Boston Celtics, Dan Roundfield of the Atlanta Hawks, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, and T.R. Dunn of the Denver Nuggets. We have now arrived at the most important part of the season. That's why I'm moving my hands like this. The playoffs. In the Eastern Conference first round, Boston defeated Washington 3-1. Milwaukee defeated Atlanta 3-2. New York beat Detroit 3-2. And New Jersey advanced over Philadelphia in 5 games. In the Western Conference first round, Utah beat Denver in 5. Dallas eliminated Seattle in 5. Phoenix defeated Portland 3-2. And the Los Angeles Lakers defeated Kansas City 3-0. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Boston defeated New York in 7 games. And Milwaukee won over New Jersey 4-2. In the Western Conference semifinals, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated Dallas 4-1. And Phoenix beat Utah 4-2. In the Eastern Conference finals, Boston advanced over Milwaukee 4-1. And the Lakers advanced over Phoenix 4-2. The 1984 NBA Finals was played through May 27th to June 12th, featuring the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Boston Celtics. This was the last NBA Finals to use the 2-2-1-1-1 format. Until, hit that sub button right now and find out when that year NBA Rap drops. Game 1 saw the Lakers stealing home court. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hit 12 for 17, finishing the game with 32 points and leading his team to a 115-109 win. In Game 2, the Lakers led 113-111 with 18 seconds left when Gerald Henderson stole a James Worthy pass to score a game-tying layup. The Lakers then inbounded the ball and Magic Johnson inexplicably dribbled the clock out during regulation time. Scott Wedman fired off the game-winning shot in OT, and the Celtics took Game 2 124-121. In Game 3, behind a big 14-point, 11-rebound, 21-assist triple-double from Magic Johnson, the Lakers were able to cruise to 137-104 win. After the game, Larry Bird said his team played like sissies in an attempt to light a fire under his teammates. It was Boston's worst playoff defeat in franchise history to that date. Magic's 21 assists were a finals game record that still stands to this day. Game 4, the Lakers had a 5-point lead with less than a minute left in the game, yet the Celtics were able to force overtime. Kareem fouled out with 16 seconds left in regulation, and Magic turned the ball over late as well, missing 2 free throws in OT. Led by Larry Bird's 29-point, 21-rebound performance, Boston won 129-125. Magic Johnson was called Tragic Johnson by Celtics fans due to the 2 crucial errors he committed in Game 4. Larry Bird led his team with a 34-point, 17-rebound performance to a 121-103 win, now giving the Celtics a 3-2 lead. Game 5, Larry Bird led his team with a 34-point, 17-rebound performance to a 121-103 win, now giving the Celtics a 3-2 series lead. This game was known as the Heat Game, as it was played under 97 degrees heat and without any air conditioning. An oxygen tank was provided to give air to an aging Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Referee Hugh Evans became dehydrated and fainted at one point in the first half. Facing elimination at home, the Lakers matched the physicality Boston had been bringing to the series. Despite trailing by 4 going into the 4th, the Lakers outscored the Celtics 36-21 to win the game, 119-108. Game 7, the Lakers found themselves down 14 at the Boston Garden. They rallied back to be down only 4 with 1 minute remaining. The 1981 Finals MVP Cedric Maxwell then stole the ball from Magic Johnson, and Dennis Johnson knocked 2 free throws down to seal a 111-102 victory. Dennis Johnson led his team with a 24-point, 8-assist performance, and the Boston Celtics wrapped up their season with the chip. Larry Bird was named the Finals MVP, averaging 27.4 points, 14 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 2.1 steals, and 1.1 blocks per game in 7 games. This series was the 8th time in NBA history that the Celtics and Lakers met in the NBA Finals, with Boston winning each time, and the first championship that the Celtics claimed at home since 1966. The 1984-1985 NBA season was the 39th season of the National Basketball Association. The season began October 26, 1984 and ended on April 14, 1985. This was David Stern's first full season as commissioner. Michael Jordan became the only rookie in NBA history to lead a team in 4 statistics: points, assists, rebounds, and steals. The Clippers relocated from San Diego to Los Angeles. Turner Broadcasting began a relationship with the NBA that continues to this day, when TBS signed a 2-year, $20 million deal with the NBA. The 1984 draft was one for the ages, yielding future Hall of Famers Hakeem Olajuwon, chosen first by the Houston Rockets; Michael Jordan, third by the Chicago Bulls; Charles Barkley, fifth by the Philadelphia 76ers; and John Stockton, 16th by the Utah Jazz. Leading the league in the East were the Boston Celtics, with 63 wins and 19 losses, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks, 59-23, Philadelphia 76ers, 58-24, Detroit Pistons, 46 and 36. New York Nets 42 and 40. Washington Bullets 40 and 42. Chicago Bulls 38 and 44. And Cleveland Cavaliers 36 and 46. Missing the playoffs were the Atlanta Hawks 34 and 48. New York Knicks 24 and 58. And Indiana Pacers 22 and 60. Leading the West were the Los Angeles Lakers, finishing with a 62-win, 20-loss record, followed by the Denver Nuggets 52 and 30. Houston Rockets 48 and 34. Dallas Mavericks 44 and 38. Portland Trailblazers 42 and 40. Utah Jazz 41 and 41. San Antonio Spurs 41 and 41. And Phoenix Suns 36 and 46. Missing the playoffs were the Seattle Supersonics, Los Angeles Clippers, and Kansas City Kings, all 31 and 51. And Golden State Warriors 22 wins, 60 losses. Let's make our way to the season leaders and all-star game. Leading the league in points, Bernard King of the New York Knicks, averaging 32.9 points per game. Leading in assists, Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, averaging 13.9 assists per game. Leading the league in rebounds, Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 13.1 rebounds per game. Leading in steals, Michael Ray Richardson of the New Jersey Nets, averaging 3 steals per game. Leading the league in blocks, Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, averaging 5.6 blocks per game. The 35th National Basketball Association All-Star Game was played on February 10th, 1985 at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Behind the large play of 7'4" center Ralph Sampson, the West finally ended its long All-Star Game slump in a 140-129 victory that ended the West's 5-game losing streak. Sampson finished with 24 points and 10 rebounds, wrapping up his night with the MVP. The 1985 NBA Slam Dunk Contest is widely heralded as one of the greatest dunk contests of all time. It featured 2 of the highest flyers of the time, Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins, with Wilkins wrapping up his night with the dunk championship. The Eastern Conference All-Stars were Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer of the Detroit Pistons, Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, Moses Malone and Julius Erving of the Philadelphia 76ers, Larry Bird, Dennis Johnson, and Robert Parrish of the Boston Celtics, Sidney Moncrief and Terry Cummings of the Milwaukee Bucks, Bernard King of the New York Knicks, and Michael Ray Richardson of the New Jersey Nets. They were coached by K.C. Jones of the Boston Celtics. The Western Conference stars were Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, George Gervin of the San Antonio Spurs, Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, Calvin Nat and Alex English of the Denver Nuggets, Larry Nance of the Phoenix Suns, Norm Nixon of the Los Angeles Clippers, Rolando Blackman of the Dallas Mavericks, and Jack Sikma of the Seattle Supersonics. They were coached by Pat Riley of the Los Angeles Lakers. We're about to jump into our award winners of the season, and if you haven't heard, we're going for that Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World. Please leave a like, please hit that sub if you're new, comment about anything ball, man, let's go. The MVP of the season went to Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 28.7 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 6.6 assists per game. The Rookie of the Year, Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 28.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. The Defensive Player of the Year went to Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz. The Sixth Man of the Year, Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, averaging 19.8 points, 9 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game in 33.6 minutes per game. The Coach of the Year went to Don Nelson of the Milwaukee Bucks. Making the All-NBA First Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 28.7 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 6.6 assists per game. Bernard King of the New York Knicks, averaging 32.9 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 3.7 assists per game. Moses Malone of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 24.6 points, 13.1 rebounds, and 1.6 assists per game. Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, averaging 21.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 13.9 assists per game. Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 18.3 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 12.6 assists per game. Making the All-NBA Second Team, Terry Cummings of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 23.6 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 2.9 assists per game. Ralph Sampson of the Houston Rockets, averaging 22.1 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 22 points, 7.9 rebounds, rebounds, and 3.2 assists per game. Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 28.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. And Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 21.7 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 5.2 assists per game. Making the All-NBA rookie team, Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers, Sam Perkins of the Dallas Mavericks, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, Sam Bowie of the Portland Trail Blazers, and Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls. Making the NBA All-Defensive First Team, Sidney Moncrief and Paul Presley of the Milwaukee Bucks, Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers, and Maurice Cheeks of the Philadelphia 76ers. Making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Bobby Jones of the Philadelphia 76ers, Danny Brains of the Seattle Supersonics, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, Dennis Johnson of the Boston Celtics, and T.R. Dunn of the Denver Nuggets. Here we are, the most important part of the season, the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference first round, Boston defeated Cleveland 3-1, and Milwaukee won over Chicago 3-1. Philadelphia defeated Washington 3-1, and Detroit beat New Jersey 3-1. In the Western Conference first round, the Los Angeles Lakers swept Phoenix 3-0. Denver defeated San Antonio 3-2. Utah defeated Houston in 5 games, and Portland won over Dallas 3-1. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Boston won over Detroit 4-2, and Philadelphia swept Milwaukee. In the Western Conference semifinals, the Los Angeles Lakers eliminated Portland 4-1, and Denver defeated Utah 4-1. In the Eastern Conference Finals, Boston advanced over Philadelphia 4-1, and in the Western Conference Finals, the Los Angeles Lakers advanced over Denver 4-1. The 1985 NBA Finals was played through May 27th to June 9th, featuring the Boston Celtics versus the Los Angeles Lakers. For the first time since 1955, the Finals implemented a 2-3-2 game format. This change of format came after David Stern had a conversation with Celtics legend Red Auerbach in 1984, who disliked the frequent traveling between games. Game 1 in the Boston Garden, the Celtics destroyed the Lakers 148-114. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar only had 12 points and 3 rebounds, and Magic Johnson pulled down only 1 rebound. The 34-point differential saw a new record for a finals game between the Lakers and the Celtics. This game was dubbed the Memorial Day Massacre, and a profound embarrassment for the Lakers team. Game 2, Kareem bounced back with a big 30-point, 17-rebound, 3-block, 8-assist game, and the Lakers made a statement that they were ready to make this series a hard one for Boston, winning 109-102. Now at the Forum in Inglewood, California, the Celtics held a 10-point lead in the second quarter before the Lakers rallied and led 65-59 by the half. The Lakers pulled away in the second half, and Kareem scored his 4,456th career point and became the league's all-time leading playoff scorer. Larry Bird was in a shooting slump, shooting a combined 17 for 42 in games 2 and 3 combined. Game 4, behind Kevin McHale's 28-12 performance, the Celtics were able to tie the series up 2-2 with a close 107-105 win. The Lakers led most of the time in Game 5, going up as much as 89-72. The Celtics were able to cut the lead down to within 4 multiple times, but could not make the comeback. LA came away with a 120-111 victory to take a 3-2 lead. Back in Boston, by halftime, the game was tied. The Lakers would hold the Celtics to just 18 third-quarter points to pull away. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scored 29 points, James Worthy scored 28 of his own, and Magic dished out 14 rebounds to become the first team to clinch a title at Boston Garden and wrap their season up with a chip. At age 38, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar became the oldest player to win the honor of Finals MVP, averaging 25.7 points, 9 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 1.5 blocks, and 1 steal per game in 6 games. This was only the Celtics' second final series defeat, having previously lost to the St. Louis Hawks in 1958 in the first video of NBA rap. Actually, you should go watch that right now. The 1985 to 1986 NBA season was the 40th season of the National Basketball Association. The season began October 25th, 1985 and ended on April 13th, 1986. The Kings relocate from Kansas City, Missouri to Sacramento, California. New Jersey Nets guard Michael Ray Richardson was banned for life by the NBA for his third violation of the league's anti-drug policy. This season marks the first time the NBA hands out a Most Improved Player award at the end of a season. The number 1 draft pick was Patrick Ewing, selected by the New York Knicks. Leading the league in the East were the Boston Celtics with a 67-win, 15-loss record, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks, 57-25, Philadelphia 76ers, 54-28, Atlanta Hawks, 50-32, Detroit Pistons, 46-36, Washington Bullets, 39-43, New Jersey Nets, 39-43, and Chicago Bulls, 30 30 and 52. Missing the playoffs were the Cleveland Cavaliers, 29 and 53, Indiana Pacers, 26 and 56, and New York Knicks, 23 wins, 59 losses. In the West, the Los Angeles Lakers led with a 62-win, 20-loss record, followed by the Houston Rockets, 51 and 31, Denver Nuggets, 47 and 35, Dallas Mavericks, 44 and 38, Utah Jazz, 42 and 40, Portland Trailblazers, 40 and 42, Sacramento Kings, 37 and 45, and San Antonio Spurs, 35 and 47. Missing the playoffs were the Phoenix Suns, 32 and 50, Los Angeles Clippers, 32 and 50, Seattle Supersonics, 31 and 51, and Golden State Warriors, 30 and 52. Let's jump into the season leaders and All-Star game. Leading the league in scoring, Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks, averaging 30.3 points per game. The assist leader went to Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 12.6 assists per game. The rebounds leader of the season, Bill Laimbeer of the Detroit Pistons, averaging 13.1 rebounds per game. Leading in steals, Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 3.7 steals per game. The block leader went to Manute Bol of the Washington Bullets, averaging 5 blocks per game. The 36th National Basketball Association All-Star Game was played on February 9th, 1986 at Reunion Arena in Dallas. Isaiah Thomas finished with 30 points, 10 assists, and 5 steals, and wrapped up his night with the MVP in the East, 139 to 132 win over the West. To add to the All-Star Weekend festivities, 5'7" Spud Webb of the Atlanta Hawks wins the slam dunk competition. The first three-point contest was also held and won by Larry Bird. The Eastern Conference stars were Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, Moses Malone, Julius Erving, and Maurice Cheeks of the Philadelphia 76ers, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish of the Boston Celtics, Buck Williams of the New Jersey Nets, Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks, Jeff Malone of the Washington Bullets, and Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks, and Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, who missed the game due to injury. They were coached by K.C. Jones of the Boston Celtics. The Western Conference stars Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, Ralph Sampson of the Houston Rockets, Rolando Blackman of the Dallas Mavericks, Adrian Dantley of the Utah Jazz, Alex English of the Denver Nuggets, Clyde Drexler of the Portland Trailblazers, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, Alvin Robertson and Artis Gilmore of the San Antonio Spurs, and Marquise Johnson of the Los Angeles Clippers. They were coached by Pat Riley of the Los Angeles Lakers. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Please leave a like if you are. It helps so much. We're trying to win the Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World. Also leave a comment about what you think about the video so far, anything about ball. And with that being said, let's get to our award winners. The MVP of the season went to Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 25.8 points per game, 9.8 rebounds, and 6.8 assists per game. The Rookie of the Year went to Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks, averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 21 blocks per game. The Defensive Player of the Year and the first ever Most Improved Player of the Year went to Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 17 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, and 5.5 assists per game. The Sixth Man of the Year went to Bill Walton of the Boston Celtics, averaging 7.6 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game, and 19.3 minutes per game. The Coach of the Year went to Mike Fratello of the Atlanta Hawks. Making the All-NBA First Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 25.8 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 6.8 assists per game. Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks, averaging 30.3 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 2.6 assists per game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 23.4 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game. Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, averaging 20.9 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 10.8 assists per game. And Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 18.8 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 12.6 assists per game. Making the All-NBA Second Team, Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 20 points, 12.8 rebounds, and 3.9 assists per game. Alex English of the Denver Nuggets, averaging 29.8 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, averaging 23.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 3.4 blocks per game. Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 20.2 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 4.9 assists per game. And Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 17 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.5 assists per game. Making the All-NBA Rookie Team, Joe Dumars of the Detroit Pistons, Charles Oakley of the Chicago Bulls, Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks, Xavier McDaniel of the Seattle Supersonics, and Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz. The NBA All-Defensive First Team, Paul Presley of the Milwaukee Bucks, Sidney Moncrief of the Milwaukee Bucks, Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, and Maurice Maurice Cheeks of the Philadelphia 76ers. And making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers, Bill Hanslick of the Denver Nuggets, Manute Bol of the Washington Bullets, Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs, and Dennis Johnson of the Boston Celtics. Here we are at the most important part of the season, the playoffs. And I have something very important to ask. Just leave a comment real quick. Easy. In the Eastern Conference first round, Boston swept Chicago. Milwaukee swept New Jersey. Philadelphia eliminated Washington 3-2. And Atlanta defeated Detroit 3-1. In the Western Conference first round, the Los Angeles Lakers swept San Antonio. Houston swept Sacramento. Denver won over Portland 3-1. And Dallas defeated Utah 3-1. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Boston eliminated Atlanta 4-1. And Milwaukee defeated Philadelphia in 7 games. In the Western Conference semifinals, the Los Angeles Lakers won over Dallas 4-2, and Houston beat Denver 4-2. In the Eastern Conference Finals, Boston swept Milwaukee 4-0 to advance to the finals. And in the Western Conference Finals, Houston defeated the Lakers 4-1 to advance to the finals. The 1986 NBA Finals was played through May 22nd to June 8th, featuring the Boston Celtics versus the Houston Rockets. This series marked the first time the NBA Finals branding was officially used, as they dropped the NBA World Championship Series branding, which had been in use since the beginning of the league. Game 1 saw the Twin Towers Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon in foul trouble for most of the game. Despite Olajuwon's 33-point, 12-rebound game, Larry Bird led his team to a 112-100 win with a 21-point, 13-assist performance. Larry Bird's 31-point game led the way in the Boston Garden. The Celtics outscored the Rockets 34-19 in the third and cruised the rest of the way to a 117-95 win. It was Boston's 40th consecutive victory at home, regular season and playoffs combined. Now at the Summit in Houston, Texas, the Rockets found themselves down 8 points in the fourth, but were able to rally and clutch out a win behind Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon, combining for 47 points and 30 rebounds. The Rockets took Game 3, 106-104. Game 4 was a tight game, and Boston's defense proved to make the difference, limiting the Rockets to just 1 basket made in the final 4 minutes. Kevin McHale forced 3 turnovers on Houston's final 3 possessions, and with Robert Parrish's 22-15 game, the Celtics took a 3-1 lead, winning 106-103. With 9 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second quarter of Game 5, Ralph Sampson threw punches at the Celtics reserve guard, Jerry Sitching, leading to his ejection. The Rockets had control most of the game, going up as much as 25 in the second half. Hakeem Olajuwon's 32-point, 14-rebound game, as well as Robert Reed's 17 assists, powered Houston to a 111-98 win. Now back at home, the Celtics proved why they were the heavy favorites to win the series, holding Sampson to only 8 points on 4 of 12 shooting with stifling defense. Boston also thrived with big games from Kevin McHale, adding 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks, as well as the Larry Bird 29-point, 11-rebound, 12-assist triple-double. The Celtics led by as much as 30 in the fourth to put away the Rockets, winning 114-97 and wrap up their season with the championship. Larry Bird took home the Finals MVP, averaging 24 points, 9.7 rebounds, 9.5 assists, and 2.7 steals per game in 6 games. The 1986-1987 NBA season was the 41st season of the National Basketball Association. The season began on October 31st, 1986, and ended on April 19th, 1987. This season was also known as the Golden Era of the NBA, featuring up to 23 future Hall of Fame players. The NBA logo was prominently displayed on the uniforms for the first time, becoming the first sports league in North America to do so. On April 17th, 3 Phoenix Suns players, James Edwards, Jay Humphries, and Grant Gosendrick, I don't know how to say his name, so correct me if you can, and 2 former players, Gar Harold and Mike Bratz, were indicted for cocaine trafficking at a popular Phoenix nightclub. Michael Jordan becomes the first player in NBA history to accumulate over 200 steals with over 100 blocks in a season. Larry Bird becomes the first player in NBA history to enter the 50-40-90 club. Boston Celtics top draft pick Len Bias died of a cocaine overdose barely 2 days after the draft. The number 1 draft pick was Brad Daugherty, selected by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Los Angeles Lakers led the league and the West with a 65-win, 17-loss record, followed by the Dallas Mavericks, 55-27, Portland Trailblazers, 49-33, Utah Jazz, 44-38, Golden State Warriors, 42-40, Houston Rockets, 42-40, Seattle Supersonics, 39-43, and Denver Nuggets, 37-46. Missing the playoffs were the Phoenix Suns, 36-46, Sacramento Kings, 29-53, 53, San Antonio Spurs 28-54, and Los Angeles Clippers 12 wins, 70 losses. The East was led by the Boston Celtics 59 wins, 23 losses, followed by the Atlanta Hawks 57-25, Detroit Pistons 52-30, Milwaukee Bucks 50-32, Philadelphia 76ers 45-37, Washington Bullets 42-40, Indiana Pacers 41-41, and Chicago Bulls 40-42. Missing the playoffs were the Cleveland Cavaliers 31-51, New Jersey Nets 24-58, and New York Knicks 24 wins, 58 losses. Let's jump into our season leaders in All-Star Game. Leading the league in scoring, Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 37.1 points per game. Leading the league in assists, Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 12.2 assists per game. The rebounds leader went to Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 14.6 rebounds per game. The steals leader, Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs, averaging 3.2 steals per game. The blocks leader went to Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, averaging 4 blocks per game. The 37th National Basketball Association All-Star Game was played on February 8, 1987 at Seattle's Kingdome. This was the highest scoring All-Star Game up to this point, setting records for combined points and free throws made. Leading the game in scoring with 34 points was hometown hero Tom Chambers of the Seattle Supersonics. A late roster fill-in for the Rockets, Ralph Sampson. Chambers wrapped his night with the game's MVP. Michael Jordan won his first slam dunk contest, and the three-point shootout was won for the second time in a row by Larry Bird. The Eastern Conference All-Stars were Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks, Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, Julius Erving, Charles Barkley, and Maurice Cheeks of the Philadelphia 76ers, Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer of the Detroit Pistons, Moses Malone and Jeff Malone of the Washington Bullets. They were coached by K.C. Jones of the Boston Celtics. The Western Conference All-Stars were Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, Tom Chambers of the Seattle Supersonics, Sleepy Floyd and Joe Barry Carroll of the Golden State Warriors, Rolando Blackman and Mark Aguirre of the Dallas Mavericks, Walter Davis of the Phoenix Suns, and Alice English of the Denver Nuggets. They were coached by Pat Riley of the Los Angeles Lakers. We're gonna make our way over to the award winners. And just so you know, we need that Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World. So just hit that like button and hit that sub button. The MVP of the season went to Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 23.9 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 12.2 assists per game. The Rookie of the Year went to Chuck Person of the Indiana Pacers, averaging 18.8 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 3.6 assists per game. The Defensive Player of the Year went to Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers. The Sixth Man of the Year went to Ricky Pierce of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 19.5 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game in 31.7 minutes per game. The Most Improved Player went to Dale Ellis of the Seattle Supersonics, averaging 24.9 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, and 2.9 assists per game. The Coach of the Year went to Mike Schuler of the Portland Trailblazers. Making the All-NBA First Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 28.1 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 7.6 assists per game. Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, averaging 26.1 points, 9.9 rebounds, and 2.6 assists per game. Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, averaging 23.4 points, 11.4 rebounds, and 3.4 blocks per game. Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 37.1 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 4.6 assists per game. And Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 23.9 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 12.2 assists per game. On the All-NBA Second Team, Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks, averaging 29 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 3.3 assists per game. Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 23 points, 14.6 rebounds, and 4.9 assists per game. Moses Malone of the Washington Bullets, averaging 24.1 points, 11.3 rebounds, and 1.6 assists per game. Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, averaging 20.6 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 10 assists per game. And Fat Lever of the Denver Nuggets, averaging 18.9 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. Making the All-NBA Rookie Team, John Hot Rod Williams of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Roy Tarpley of the Dallas Mavericks, Chuck Person of the Indiana Pacers, and Ron Harper and Brad Daugherty of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Making the NBA All-Defensive First Team, Kevin McHale and Dennis Johnson of the Boston Celtics, Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, and Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs. Making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Paul Presley of the Milwaukee Bucks, Rodney McRae of the Houston Rockets, Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, Maurice Cheeks of the Philadelphia 76ers, 76ers, and Derek Harper of the Dallas Mavericks. Let's make our way to the most important part of the season, the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference first round, Boston swept Chicago 3-0. Milwaukee defeated Philadelphia 3-2. Detroit swept Washington, and Atlanta beat Indiana. In the Western Conference first round, the Los Angeles Lakers swept Denver. Golden State defeated Utah 3-2. Houston won over Portland 3-1, and Seattle eliminated Dallas 3-1. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Detroit defeated Atlanta 4-1, and Boston beat Milwaukee in the 7-game series. In the Western Conference semifinals, Seattle won over Houston 4-2, and the Los Angeles Lakers eliminated Golden State 4-1. In the Eastern Conference finals, Boston defeated Detroit in 7 games to advance to the finals. And in the Western Conference finals, the Lakers swept Seattle to advance to the finals. The 1987 NBA Finals was played through June 2nd to June 14th, featuring the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Boston Celtics. This was the first NBA championship series conducted entirely in June. Game 1 took place at the Forum in Inglewood, California. The Lakers were coming off a 4-game sweep of the Seattle Supersonics, while the Celtics were coming off a long 7-game series win over the Detroit Pistons. Magic Johnson led the way with 29 points, 13 assists, and 8 rebounds, as well as no turnovers. James Worthy also had a big performance with 33 points and 9 rebounds, paving the way to a 126-113 win. Although the Celtics attempted to concentrate on stopping Magic, he was still able to post a big 22-point, 20-assist double-double. And with Kareem still proving he was a threat at this late point of his career, shooting 10 for 14 and scoring 23 points, the Lakers took Game 2 141-122. Now at home, the Celtics were able to bounce back behind Larry Bird's 30-point, 12-rebound performance. Dennis Johnson finished with 26 points, and Robert Parrish, even though scoreless and in foul trouble, played great defense. Boston won 109-103. The Celtics came into Game 4 hot at home, leading 55-47 going into halftime, and with 5 of their players scoring in double digits, they were up by as many as 16 points. However, the Lakers fought back hard to cut the lead to 85-78 going into the fourth. The fourth quarter was intense and filled with wild events of each team taking the lead. Ultimately, Magic Johnson was able to hit a clutch hook shot with just 2 seconds left on the clock to win the game 107-106 and take a 3-1 lead. Game 5, the third straight in the Boston Garden, saw Danny Ainge nailing 5 of 6 from the 3-point line and the Celtics gaining early control. And with Dennis Johnson's 25-point, 11-assist performance, the C's took the game 123-108. By halftime of Game 6, the Celtics looked like they would be pushing the series to Game 7, leading 56-51 by half and holding Magic Johnson to only 4 points. But the Lakers scored the first 3 baskets coming out the half, going up 57-56 and never gave up the lead again. The Lakers outscored the Celtics 30-12 in the third quarter for an 18-point turnaround, mostly on fast breaks, displaying Showtime at its finest. Kareem led the team with 32 points and Magic Johnson bounced back, finishing the game with 16 points, 19 assists, and 8 rebounds. The Lakers wrapped their season up with a 106-93 win and the championship. Magic Johnson was named the Finals MVP, averaging 26.2 points, 8 rebounds, 13 assists, and 2.3 steals per game in 6 games. The 1987-1988 NBA season was the 47th season of the National Basketball Association. The season began November 6, 1987 and ended on April 24, 1988. Michael Jordan becomes the only player in NBA history to win both the scoring title and Defensive Player of the Year honors. He is also the only player in NBA history to combine these awards with the season's Most Valuable Player award. Larry Bird becomes the first player in NBA history to enter the 50-40-90 club more than once and in consecutive seasons. CBS begins broadcasting the NBA games in stereo. The number 1 draft pick was David Robinson, selected by the San Antonio Spurs. Leading the West in the league were the Los Angeles Lakers with a 62-win, 20-loss season, followed by the Denver Nuggets, 54-28, Dallas Mavericks, 53-29, Portland Trailblazers, 53-29, Utah Jazz, 47-35, Houston Rockets, 46-36, Seattle Supersonics, 44-38, and San Antonio Spurs, 31-51. Missing the playoffs were the Phoenix Suns, 28-54, Sacramento Kings, 24-58, Golden State Warriors, 20-62, and Los Angeles Clippers, 17-65. The The East was led by the Boston Celtics, 57 wins, 25 losses, followed by the Detroit Pistons, 54-28, Chicago Bulls, 50-32, Atlanta Hawks, 50-32, Milwaukee Bucks, 42-40, Cleveland Cavaliers, 42-40, Washington Bullets, 38-44, and New York Knicks, 38-44. Missing the playoffs were the Indiana Pacers, 38-44, Philadelphia 76ers, 36-46, and New Jersey Nets, 19-63. Let's make our way to the season leaders in All-Star Game. Leading the league in scoring, Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 35 points per game. Leading the league in assists, John Stockton of the Utah Jazz, averaging 13.8 assists per game. Leading in rebounds, Michael Cage of the Los Angeles Clippers, averaging 13 rebounds per game. The steals leader went to Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 3.2 steals per game. Leading the league in blocks, Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, averaging 3.7 blocks per game. The 38th National Basketball Association All-Star Game was played on February 7, 1988 at Chicago Stadium in Chicago. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scored 10 points in 14 minutes to give him 247 career All-Star Game points and the title as the game's #1 all-time scorer. But it was Michael Jordan who wrapped up his night with the game's MVP award, leading the East to 138-133 win after totaling 40 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, and 4 blocks. Jordan started off his MVP weekend with a bang, taking home a second straight dunk contest title in a memorable showdown with Dominique Wilkins in the final. At the three-point shootout, Larry Bird dominated once again to claim his third and final title in the event. The Eastern Conference All-Stars were Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, Moses Malone of the Washington Bullets, Dominique Wilkins and Doc Rivers of the Atlanta Hawks, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Danny Ainge of the Boston Celtics, Charles Barkley and Maurice Cheeks of the Philadelphia 76ers, Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks, and Brad Daugherty of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were coached by Mike Fratello of the Atlanta Hawks. The Western Conference All-Stars, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, Alex English and Fat Lever of the Denver Nuggets, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz, Clyde Drexler and Steve Johnson, who missed the game due to injury, of the Portland Trail Blazers, Mark Aguirre and James Donaldson of the Dallas Mavericks, Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs, and Xavier McDaniel of the Seattle Supersonics. They were coached by Pat Riley of the Los Angeles Lakers. It's time to get into our award winners, and you know we need that Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World, so just leave a like real quick, hit that sub button, and let's do it. The MVP of the season went to Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 35 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. The Rookie of the Year went to Mark Jackson of the New York Knicks, averaging 13.6 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 10.6 assists per game. The Defensive Player of the Year went to Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls. The Sixth Man of the Year went to Roy Tarpley of the Dallas Mavericks, averaging 13.5 points, 11.8 rebounds, and 1.3 steals per game. The Most Improved Player of the season went to Kevin Duckworth of the Portland Trail Blazers, averaging 15.8 points and 7.4 rebounds in 28.5 minutes per game. Coach of the Year went to Doug Moe of the Denver Nuggets. Making the All-NBA First Team, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics, averaging 29.9 points, 9.3 rebounds, and 6.1 assists per game. Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 28.3 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 3.2 assists per game. Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, averaging 22.8 points, 12.1 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks per game. Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 35 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. And Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 19.6 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 11.9 assists per game. Making the All-NBA Second Team, Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz, averaging 27.7 points, 12 rebounds, and 2.4 assists per game. Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks, averaging 30.7 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 2.9 assists per game. Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks, averaging 20.2 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. Clyde Drexler of the Portland Trail Blazers, averaging 27 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 5.8 assists per game. And John Stockton of the Utah Jazz, averaging 14.7 points, 13.8 assists, and 3 steals per game. Making the All-NBA Rookie Team, Derek McKee of the Seattle Supersonics, Cadillac Anderson of the San Antonio Spurs, Mark Jackson of the New York Knicks, Kenny Smith of the Sacramento Kings, and Armin Gillen of the Phoenix Suns. Making the NBA All-Defensive First Team, Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, Rodney McCray and Hakeem Olajuwon Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, Michael Cooper of the Los Angeles Lakers, and Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls. Making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Buck Williams of the New Jersey Nets, Karl Malone and Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks, Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs, and Fat Lever of the Denver Nuggets. Here we are at the most important part of the season, the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference first round, Boston defeated New York 3-1. Detroit sent home Washington 3-2. Chicago beat Cleveland 3-2. And Atlanta defeated Milwaukee 3-2. In the Western Conference first round, the Los Angeles Lakers swept San Antonio 3-0. Denver eliminated Seattle 3-2. Dallas beat Houston 3-1. And Utah defeated Portland 3-1. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, Boston defeated Atlanta in 7 games. And Detroit defeated Chicago 4-1. In the Western Conference semifinals, the Los Angeles Lakers won over Utah in 7, and Dallas defeated Denver 4-2. In the Eastern Conference finals, Detroit advanced over Boston 4-2 to make it to the finals. And in the Western Conference finals, the Los Angeles Lakers beat Dallas in 7 to advance to the finals. The 1988 NBA Finals was played through June 7th to June 21st, featuring the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Detroit Pistons. This was the first NBA Finals since 1983 not to feature the Boston Celtics. Game 1 of the Forum saw the Lakers tired, coming off back-to-back 7-game series. By halftime, the Pistons had a 57-40 lead and never looked back. Adrian Dantley led the Pistons with 34 points and secured a 105-93 win. Facing the possibility of going down 2-0 with 3 games to play in Detroit, the Lakers pulled one out on their home court, winning 108-96, led by James Worthy's 26 points and Magic Johnson's 23-point, 11-assist flu game double-double. Now at the Pontiac Silverdome in Michigan, Magic once again fought through his flu and had 18 points, 14 assists, and 6 rebounds, leading his team to a 99-86 win and going up 2-1 in the series. Game 4, the Pistons' offensive plan was to attack the basket and make Magic Johnson defend, which then landed him in foul trouble early in the second half. Detroit was able to capitalize on this and build a lead, blowing out the defending champions 111-86. Now at their third home game, the Lakers scored the game's first 12 points, relying on their big men. However, they once again found themselves facing foul trouble. And with Adrian Dantley's 25 points and Joe Dumars' 19, the Pistons won 104-94, finding themselves 1 win away from the chip. By the third quarter of Game 6, the Lakers led 56-48. Isaiah Thomas then started to explode with one of his career-defining games, scoring his team's next 14 points. With around 5 minutes left in the quarter, Thomas rolled his right ankle and collapsed on the floor. Despite a severe sprain, Thomas returned to the game with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left, and the Lakers up 74-66. Thomas, with his bad ankle, scored 11 of the Pistons' last 15 points of the quarter to finish with 25, an NBA Finals record for one quarter, on 11 of 13 shooting to take an 81-79 lead. After a wild series of events, the Lakers ended up winning the game with a close final score of 103-102. Let me know if you guys want an in-depth video on that game. This was the first Game 7 since 1984 and the first to be played under the 2-3-2 format. Isaiah Thomas was still dealing with the ankle injury, and while he managed to lead his team to a 52-47 halftime lead, his second half minutes were limited and the Lakers were able to be up 90-75 by the early fourth. The Pistons switched to a lineup featuring Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, John Sally, Joe Dumars, and Benny Johnson, who were able to cut the lead to only 1. The Lakers were able to clutch the game out due to James Worthy, AC Green, and Magic Johnson's play in the final minutes to win the game 108-105 and wrap their season up with the chip. Worthy racked up a monster triple-double, 36 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. It would prove to be the only triple-double in Worthy's Hall of Fame career. For that and his earlier efforts in the series, he was named the Finals MVP, cementing his nickname Big Game James, averaging 22 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 4.4 assists per game in 7 games. Michael Cooper, Magic Johnson, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are the only members of all 5 Lakers championship teams from the 1980s. Pat Riley is the only coach that was on all 5 Lakers championship teams from the 1980s. One of his most famous moments came when he promised the crowd a repeat championship during the Lakers' 1987 championship parade in downtown Los Angeles. The Showtime Lakers made it happen. The 1988 to 1989 NBA season was the 43rd season of the National Basketball Association. The season began on November 4th, 1988 and ended on April 23rd, 1989. The NBA adopts the three-point official system used in college basketball permanently. The Charlotte Hornets and Miami Heat become the league's 24th and 25th franchises. The Indiana Pacers had 4 different head coaches during the season, a rare occurrence that has not happened since. Hakeem Olajuwon becomes the only player in NBA history to accumulate over 200 steals with over 200 blocks in a season. The number 1 draft pick was Danny Manning, selected by the Los Angeles Clippers. Leading the league in the East were the Detroit Pistons, 63 wins and 19 losses, followed by the New York Knicks, 52-30, Cleveland Cavaliers, 57-25, Atlanta Hawks, 52-30, Milwaukee Bucks, 49-33, Chicago Bulls, 47-35, Philadelphia 76ers, 46-36, and Boston Celtics, 42-40. Missing the playoffs were the Washington Bullets, 40-42, Indiana Pacers, 28-54, New Jersey Nets, 26-56, and Charlotte Hornets, 20-62. In the West, the Los Angeles Lakers led with a 57-25 record, followed by the Utah Jazz, 51-31, Phoenix Suns, 55-27, Seattle Supersonics, 47-35, Houston Rockets, 45-37, Denver Nuggets, 44-38, Golden State Warriors, 43-39, and Portland Trailblazers, 39-43. Missing the playoffs were the Dallas Mavericks, 38-44, Sacramento Kings, 27-55, San Antonio Spurs, 21-61, Los Angeles Clippers, 21-61, and Miami Heat, 15-67. Let's jump into our season leaders and all-star game. The scoring leader of the season was Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 32.5 points per game. The assist leader, John Stockton of the Utah Jazz, averaging 13.6 assists per game. The rebounds leader, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, averaging 13.5 rebounds per game. The steals leader of the season was John Stockton of the Utah Jazz, with 3.2 steals per game. And the blocks leader was Manute Bol of the Golden State Warriors, averaging 4.3 blocks per game. The 39th National Basketball Association All-Star Game was held at the Astrodome in Houston on February 12, 1989. The game set a new NBA All-Star attendance record with 44,735 people in attendance. Karl Malone had 28 points on 12 for 17 shooting, 9 rebounds, and 2 steals in the West's 143-134 victory to wrap up his night with the game's MVP. At the All-Star Weekend events, Dale Ellis took home the 3-point shootout title, while Knicks high-flying forward Kenny Walker claimed the slam dunk contest championship. The Eastern Conference stars were Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, Moses Malone and Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks, Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers, Mark Price, Larry Nance, and Brad Daugherty of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Terry Cummings of the Milwaukee Bucks, Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, and Mark Jackson and Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks. They were coached by Lenny Wilkins of the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Western Conference stars were Dale Ellis of the Seattle Supersonics, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, Alex English of the Denver Nuggets, John Stockton, Karl Malone, and Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, James Worthy and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, who missed the game due to injury, Clyde Drexler and Kevin Duckworth of the Portland Trailblazers, Chris Mullin of the Golden State Warriors, and Tom Chambers of the Phoenix Suns. They were coached by Pat Riley of the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's make our way into the award winners of the season, and you know we need that Rookie of the Year award here in Spa World. Just hit that like button if you're here, hit that sub button if you new. The MVP of the season went to Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 22.5 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game, and 12.8 assists per game. The Rookie of the Year went to Mitch Richmond of the Golden State Warriors, averaging 22 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, and 4.2 assists per game. The Defensive Player of the Year went to Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz. The Sixth Man of the Year went to Eddie Johnson of the Phoenix Suns, averaging 21.5 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, and 2.3 assists per game, and 29.2 minutes per game. The Most Improved Player, Kevin Johnson of the Phoenix Suns, averaging 20.4 points per game, 12.2 assists per game, and 4.2 rebounds per game. The Coach of the Year went to Cotton Fitzsimmons of the Phoenix Suns. Making the All-NBA First Team, Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz, averaging 29.1 points per game, 10.7 rebounds per game, and 2.7 assists per game. Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 25.8 points per game, 12.5 rebounds per game, and 4.1 assists per game. Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, averaging 24.8 points per game, 13.5 rebounds per game, and 3.4 blocks per game. Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, averaging 32.5 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 8 assists per game. Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers, averaging 22.5 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game, and 12.8 assists per game. Making the All-NBA second team, Tom Chambers of the Phoenix Suns, averaging 25.7 points per game, 8.4 rebounds per game, and 2.9 assists per game. Chris Mullin of the Golden State Warriors, averaging 26.5 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, and 5.1 assists per game. Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks, averaging 22.7 points per game, 9.3 rebounds per game, and 3.5 blocks per game. John Stockton of the Utah Jazz, averaging 17.1 points per game, 13.6 assists per game, and 3.2 steals per game. And Kevin Johnson of the Phoenix Suns, averaging 20.4 points per game, 12.2 assists per game, and 4.2 rebounds per game. Making the All-NBA third team, Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks, averaging 26.2 points per game, 6.9 rebounds per game, and 2.6 assists per game. Terry Cummings of the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 22.9 points per game, 8.1 rebounds per game, and 2.5 assists per game. Robert Parrish of the Boston Celtics, averaging 18.6 points per game, 12.5 rebounds per game, and 2.2 assists per game. Dale Ellis of the Seattle Supersonics, averaging 27.5 points per game, 4.2 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game. And Mark Price of the Cleveland Cavaliers, averaging 18.9 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, and 8.4 assists per game. Making the NBA All-Rookie First Team, Rick Smits of the Indiana Pacers, Willie Anderson of the San Antonio Spurs, Mitch Richmond of the Golden State Warriors, Charles D. Smith of the Los Angeles Clippers, and Hershey Hawkins of the Philadelphia 76ers. Making the NBA All-Rookie Second Team, Rex Chapman of the Charlotte Hornets, Kevin Edwards of the Miami Heat, Chris Morris of the New Jersey Nets, Brian Shaw of the Boston Celtics, and Rod Strickland of the New York Knicks. Making the NBA All-Defensive First Team, Dennis Rodman of the Detroit Pistons, Larry Nance of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Mark Eaton of the Utah Jazz, Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, and Joe Dumars of the Detroit Pistons. Making the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, Kevin McHale of the Boston Celtics, AC Green of the Los Angeles Lakers, Patrick Ewing of the New York Knicks, John Stockton of the Utah Jazz, and Alvin Robertson of the San Antonio Spurs. Let's make our way to the most important part of the season, the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference First Round, New York swept Philadelphia 3-0. Detroit swept Boston 3-0. Chicago defeated Cleveland 3-2, and Milwaukee won over Atlanta 3-2. In the Western Conference First Round, the Los Angeles Lakers swept Portland 3-0. Golden State swept Utah 3-0. Phoenix swept Denver 3-0, and Seattle advanced over Houston 3-1. In the Eastern Conference Semifinals, Chicago defeated New York 4-2, and Detroit swept Milwaukee 4-0. In the Western Conference Semifinals, Phoenix won over Golden State 4-1, and the Los Angeles Lakers swept Seattle 4-0. In the Eastern Conference Finals, Detroit advanced over Chicago 4-2, and in the Western Conference Finals, Los Angeles swept Phoenix 4-0. The 1989 NBA Finals was played through June 6th to June 13th, featuring a rematch of the previous year, the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Detroit Pistons. Just before Game 1, Lakers guard Byron Scott suffered a severe hamstring injury in practice. He would miss the series. Without Scott's quick switches and help defense, the Pistons guard smoked the Lakers. Isaiah Thomas had 24 points, Joe Dumars 22, and Vinnie Johnson 19. Detroit took the game 109-97. Game 2 in the Palace of Auburn Hills, Joe Dumars had a hot first half with 24 points, but the Lakers pounded the boards and played hard to 62-56 lead at halftime. With around 4 minutes left in the third, Magic Johnson dropped back to play defense on the Detroit fast break and pulled his hamstring. Magic was visibly hurt and frustrated, ultimately having to leave the floor. Despite losing Magic, the Lakers fought hard, cutting the game to 1. Isaiah Thomas was able to sink 2 clutch free throws to win the game, 108-105. Now back at the Forum in California, Magic tried to play through his injury. However, he was only able to play for 5 minutes. James Worthy put up 26 points, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar contributed with a 24-point, 13-rebound double-double. But with Dennis Rodman on the boards with 19, alongside his tenacious defense, Isaiah Thomas dishing out 8 assists, and Joe Dumars leading in scoring with 31, the Pistons took a 3-0 lead, winning 114-110. James Worthy, the MVP of the last finals, put up a championship performance with 40 points and had the Lakers leading into the third and into the fourth, but the Pistons were able to take control and wrap the finals up with a sweep, winning 105-97 and taking home the chip. Joe Dumars was named Finals MVP, averaging 27.3 points per game, 6 assists per game, and 1.8 rebounds in 4 games. This was the first NBA Finals that ended in a 4-game sweep since the finals went to the 2-3-2 format in 1985. This, alongside with the 1983 NBA Finals, were the only 2 NBA championships of the 1980s not won by either the Lakers or the Boston Celtics. Following the series, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar announced his retirement at 42 years years old after 20 years with the NBA. Spa World, hopefully you enjoyed this compilation of everything that happened in the 80s. Let me know what you learned new in the comments below. I'll see you next video. We're hopping into the 90s. Let's get to it. If you want to keep learning ball, you can do that right there.